Well, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean. It's actually an historic episode of Rimshots with Sean because I'm actually wearing glasses today, which I don't typically do. The vanity in me doesn't allow me to admit that my eyes are starting to go. But anyway, I am here with a brand new friend, Miss Jenn Sheppard. She's all the way up in New Waterford, Cape Breton. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. That's just my opinion, though.
Well, hey, an opinion that's the beauty of opinion is you get to have one and it's always yours and you can't be wrong. So that's great.
That's what I'm
Um,
told.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got a lot on the go. We've been, I guess, I've been following you on social media. So I guess we'll start right now. It's the holiday season, and you're doing a bunch of stuff up in Cape Breton. Why don't you let my viewers know what's going on?
Yeah, I will. We just wrapped up a bit of a Christmas tour that myself and my trusty holidays crew we did with Heather Rankin. We did some dates around here, and then we went to Mabou and Guysborough and Lower Sackville, and we had a great time. It was packed houses and wonderfully warm audiences. I think some of our favorite audiences are Christmas people. You know, everyone's in a good
Yeah,
spirit
you
either
can't go
before
wrong.
they
They're
get
always in a
there or
good
when
mood.
they're leaving. Yeah. Well,
Absolutely, they're always in a good mood.
hopefully sometimes they're coming to get in a good mood. And, happy to report that we had lots of those reports that we put them in a good mood. So that's always the goal. It was a lot of fun. And through that, Heather and I and Fred Lavery and Stephen Muse, we got together to write a few songs for that particular Christmas show, not knowing whether or not we would be able to do it that quickly because us four have never written together. Fred and I do lots of writing together. Stephen and I do lots of writing together. But Heather and I had never really written together in that small space together before. And instead of just writing one song, I think we ended up writing five that night next to a big old fire in a log cabin. So
Well,
success.
you know what?
Woo!
Five in one night's a pretty good rip because some people struggle to get one a year. I mean, that's just kind of the way that it goes. Seems to
Well,
be blessed with that.
and I said, as a joke, they won't all be double platinum. Maybe just a couple of them. But it was a great experience. And as you know, songwriting is a vulnerable place to be. And sometimes to do it with strangers, it doesn't always work out. Not that those people were strangers, but in the songwriting realm, we were definitely strangers to each other. So we were really happy that it flowed so easy. And like I said, they won't all be great hits, but certainly each one of them has its own charm and experience just because we got to do it together.
Well, in my take, and there's a lot of internet radio now, but there's a lot of like community radio. And they do top 30s and top 20s, and for me, I don't. If somebody has the courage to actually put a song forward and put it out there to be judged, I don't care if I like it or not. They're going to get a thumbs up because it's a very hard thing to do. It's hard enough to please yourself, let alone anybody else. And I think you got to please yourself first, right?
I agree with that statement wholeheartedly. And I mean, it is really something. It's like something that you give birth to and then you have to release it and you're literally stamping your name on it and asking everybody to give you feedback. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It is.
What a terrifying career we picked.
Well, and it's funny because it's funny you mentioned terrifying career we pick. It just seems like lately, and I wouldn't even say lately, the last couple of years with social media, people, you get to talk about the keyboard warriors, but everybody's got an opinion, and it's real easy to be critical of people that are doing stuff by people that maybe aren't. I'd love to get your take on that because in my kind of world, I see that a lot where people that actually are trying to do something to move forward get attacked or criticized by people that really aren't doing a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah. I think we touched on this a little bit together on Facebook when you had made a post there. I recently have had a couple of really close friends of mine's performers who have taken a break from social media for that exact reason. And I mean, not because they don't have thick skin and they can't handle it. I mean, anybody that knows anything knows don't bother going into this business if you don't have some kind of a thick skin. But I don't think, things have changed and our mental health is being impacted in so many ways. And that is just one of them. Back in the olden days when we were all, vying for gigs, I got to know what you were doing because I probably walked down the street and saw your poster on the poll. Or, I read it in the Thursday entertainment section of the Cape Breton Post. I certainly didn't have one long rolling feed that shows me over and over and over again what everybody else is doing in the creative world. I mean, I get inspired when I watch what other people are doing. It gives me a feeling in my belly that makes me want to jump at it and do something. Look what these guys are doing. So if you're inundated with that every single day and you're trying to rate yourself against this giant feed of hundreds of musicians, like my Jenn Sheppard page on Facebook is a page aside from my personal page, and I like other artists from that page, which means I get all of the news feed of what everybody else is doing. And sometimes, it can teeter on the verge of, it's impossible. It's impossible to keep up with that feed. If you're going to try to compare what you're doing with the entire feed, you just burn out. And instead of being creative for creative sake, we're all trying to scramble to keep up with each other. And I think it's a good idea for us to every now and then take a step back and realize, Facebook has turned us into weird people. Look, we're all narcissists. We all, if my dentist had to tell me every time they were doing anything to get me to come there, it would be the same thing. I literally have to tell everybody where I'm going and what I'm doing because I want you to come with me because I need your ticket sales so that I can have my paycheck. But it's turned us into strange people, hasn't it?
It has. And you know what? I want to cover a little bit more of that on the break and, some other parts of your career because you're not just a Christmas person, man. You're doing some other things. So we'll be back on Eastlink Community TV after this. Welcome back to Rimshots with Sean right here in Eastlink Community TV. And hey, I hope you enjoyed Friday Night Hockey because we're on after that. And I don't know who won. Maybe it was the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. We're not sure. We don't even know who played. But that being said, we're here with Jenn Sheppard. This interview started out as a Facebook conversation or a messenger conversation about a post, as you mentioned in the last segment. I guess a couple questions before we go on to that. So the scene in Cape Breton. So I'm originally from Sydney, but I don't get to go up there as much as I'd like to. What's the music scene up there in terms of, is it vibrant? Is there a lot of things going on? What can you tell us?
I certainly think it's vibrant and there are tons of things going on. I mean, we have beautiful venues here in terms of the bigger concerts. We've got the Savoy and we've got the Highland Arts Theatre and the Lewisburg Playhouse and many more. But I don't know, the club scene here isn't all that it used to be, but I think it's coming back. I think people are coming back. It took us a little bit of time to get comfortable in crowds again, but I think we're there. A lot of people travel between Halley and Cape Breton. I heard somebody say just last week that Cape Breton is turning into Little Nashville. I like the sounds of that. I think we've got lots of young, brand new artists coming up that are just starting to sink their teeth in. I think we've got to get behind them and support them and jump in when we can. Collabs are a great idea. If we want to keep it vibrant, we've got to keep pushing each other forward.
It's like we rehearsed this and we didn't, but you mentioned support, and a common theme that I get from people within my group and when I do the podcast is that, they'll support people and, they'll buy a CD, they'll buy a t-shirt, they'll go to a show. But then when they put something out, it seems like that support from the people that they've supported isn't happening. And some of them get offended, some of them get, down. You made a great point. These up and comers, we're not going to be here forever, right? We got to put some investments in these new kids that are coming up because a lot of them have a lot of talent, but I would love to get your take on support and what your thoughts are on that.
I think, I try not to get too wrapped up in thinking that other people aren't supporting or other artists. I just always kind of think people are busy and they have everybody's trying to post at the right time, whether you're using Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook or TikTok or whatever you're doing. We're all trying to figure out the algorithm, aren't we? It's like a beast that we have to keep feeding. And I think sometimes people think, oh, I would love to like or share that for somebody else, but I got to make my own post in an hour, so I don't want to clog up when in fact, I think we could probably do more to help each other online. And, it doesn't take anything to go and like a bunch of pages. And even if I don't think you should be behind somebody if you really don't subscribe to what they're doing, if you really don't believe in what they're doing. I mean, I don't want a bunch of people telling me they think I'm great if they're just being phony and they're offering me lip service, but you can support people without telling them that you think they're awesome.
Yeah.
It's all about just pushing people forward, I think, and showing as a community that there's support for everybody and there's room for everybody. I've always said there's room for everybody because we all offer something different. And I know that, secretly in our brains, we're all competing against each other because a lot of times we're putting shows on at the same time as each other, and we're looking for the ticket sales and we're looking for the Facebook likes and see how popular I am. Look how many likes I have on this post. But again, Facebook has made us into a strange being. The fact that we're even having to have a discussion about the fact that some of our stuff doesn't get supported by other artists is just weird. It's a strange world we're living in now. But I'll tell you what, these conversations that we've had and the couple of people that I've had made me really realize that more people are feeling like that than we think. And so I'm gonna do an extra hard job of showing my support to other artists and showing them that I believe in their product. And I mean, there's a ton of people on my Facebook page that are just so creative and have these fantastic approaches to their own personal marketing. And I mean, I learn a lot just watching what other people are doing all day long. So I'll throw them a thumbs up just for that.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'll remind everybody you're here on Eastlink Community TV with Jenn Sheppard. And, this podcast started out of, I was doing a community radio show, but I was playing, and we all know what happened in 2020. It was like, 5 weeks, you know what, I'll be back at my music. It doesn't happen. So I just started doing interviews with musician friends that I knew. And I've seen cycles, so I've seen frustration. I've seen the mental health side of things. And now I've seen a little bit of, I don't want to say stagnant times, but I mean, like where there was no music 3 years ago, sometimes I feel in certain areas there's a little bit of taking it for granted. And so it's weird how these cycles kind of spin. And people don't, you got a short memory of where we were, 3 short years ago.
Yeah. I think we've definitely lost a few people too. We as a family during the time we shall not speak of, we got together and did a thing called Garbage Night Sessions, and it got really popular, and we raised a lot of money for the community. And we still to this day have people asking us if we'll go back online. And our response always is like, we did that at a time when we couldn't do live shows, and we love live shows. And it's not easy to do this type of thing, to do any kind of music online, unless when we did it, we were trying to do it correctly. We were trying to do it so that we could, you feel like you're in the room and you hear the sounds that you hear. But we all know the magic happens live, and then it's gone. But I feel like we lost a bunch of people to that, where they were like, oh, we can watch all our shows online and we can just stay in our pajamas in our comfy homes. And I get that. I get it. But I'm sad for those people now that just kind of feel like, oh, well, if I can't get that show online, I guess I'm not going. I get it.
Yeah.
But I also think, yeah.
I agree with you. But I mean, so I'll use the example of the Junos that's coming up in March, right? And it's going to be down here in HRM, and there's certain issues around live venues here, which I won't, mess your interview over, but
Sure.
And they never seem to go away, and they're probably going to get resolved just in time for Junos, and then they're going to go back again. And then the opinion is kind of like, well, I'll get it online, or I don't have to go. And that I guess that's where I'm going with it, where there just seems to be this stagnant sort of thing where it almost was 3 or 4 years ago, where we almost lost, but now we got it back again, and we were going to take it for granted a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think typically that happens in any community where we're a constant and we're always there. I always take the Men of the Deeps as a great example. My husband is the conductor for the Men of the Deeps, and they travel worldwide, and they only have to breathe their name in the communities that they never get to go to, and the tickets just sell. And I mean, they sell out here too, but it's instant in other communities where they don't get to have them all the time. And here we own them; they're ours, and we love them. But we're going to go to the show, but we're typical buyers, and we'll buy it at the last minute. Like, we buy everything because we like to make people panic.
Absolutely. Look, and in the poetic words of Snoop Dogg, you got to make it elsewhere before you can make it in your own backyard. So there you go.
It is really true.
It is. We're going to take one more break, pay a few bills, and we'll be back after this on Eastlink Community TV. For people that don't know you, you've been an artist for a while, and you're active. Why don't you tell the viewers, I guess, what you've been doing, the start of your career, where you are right now, outside of the Christmas stuff, because some people might only know you because of the Christmas stuff and the Christmas posts.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of people don't know me. I've been in the entertainment scene for 6,000 years, and kind of got my start in the church choir and never looked back. I've got just one original album out, 13 cuts. It's available on my website, jensheppard.com, or anywhere you stream music. But I also do a lot of tribute shows and legends shows, and I work with a group called the Island Girls, which is Bette McDonald, Lucy McNeil, and Heather Rankin. And I do a lot of the tribute shows. That's kind of where I cut my teeth. I've always been fascinated with the voices of Anne Murray and Karen Carpenter and Patsy Cline and Shania Twain, and I've gotten to pay tribute to all those mama casts in different shows that we do around here. And I also, my husband and I run an entertainment company, so we put on a lot of shows. We make hay if there's no hay.
Well, and I love that because, I mean, I always seem to see things going on at the Savoy, and I've got some friends that, play Glace Bay every now and again. And I don't get a lot of opportunity to get up there only just because I'm kind of in different circles. But to me, it just seems like you up in Cape Breton, you guys have you mentioned collaborative, very supportive. There's a lot of people, it appears to me anyway, playing on other people's music. Is that the case, or is that just something that I'm kind of making up and hopeful it's taking place?
No, absolutely not. In Cape Breton, at least, and outside of Cape Breton as well, we have a circle of musicians that are, in my opinion, world class. And not only are they world class, but they're very generous with their time and talents. And so each person could go off and do their own show, and all of these people agree to come along and do shows with each other. So, at any one time, there'll be a group of us, but there might be 9 of us in that one group, but then 4 of that group is going off next week to do a different thing. And because they're so well-rounded, they're able to kind of dabble in just about anything. We've got people within our realm like Aaron C. Lewis, who plays the piano, plays drums. He also produces some of the tribute shows that are going on. He does his partner is one of the best fiddlers in Canada, so they do a lot of fiddle. They're in a lot of different worlds. We've got Emily Dingwall, who plays with Matt Minglewood and who played with JP Cormier, and she sings with everybody, and she can play everything. Darren McMullen of Coag is another one of our favorites, and his wife Rachel, and I could name Fred Lavery, Heather, Bet, Lucy. We all love to come together, and we love to put things together that are brand new, and everybody's kind of willing to jump in, and everybody wants to be part of something that's going to be good and fun. And in Cape Breton, it just seems like, we've got lots of people who are willing to get something starting, and everybody, I try to say yes to everything. I love doing collabs. I'm actually behind the 8 ball on a couple of recordings that I agreed to do with a couple of guys that are releasing singles here. So if you're listening, guys, I promise I'll get there. To answer your question the long way around, I think Cape Breton is really open and collaborative, at least in the circles that I work in. And I hope it continues to be that. And I hope that we continue to look behind us and support who's ever coming up. And I hope those who are ahead of us will turn around and offer a hand.
Well, and I mean that's great to hear, and I say that because I think it was 2 or 3, maybe 4 weeks ago. I went and saw it was the Fleetwood Mac uh,
Oh yeah,
classic albums live,
yeah,
and M was
classic
playing bass.
albums
And
live.
actually, I'll be honest with you, I don't know her at all, but she was a standout for me in that particular show, just because
Yeah,
she was a great pocket player. I mean, I'm a drummer myself, and great pocket player, but she just had a really cool presence. Like she was wearing the headband, and she just looked like she was having fun,
yeah,
and it was cool to see.
yeah,
And in a room of, I don't know, there was 800-900 people. A lot of people picked up on that, so it was neat. I think she was maybe the only person. Maybe there were one or two others from Cape Breton, but it was just good to see some fresh blood come into our fair city down here and shake the bushes
yeah.
up a little bit.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you had that experience with them. Yeah, Em's pretty cool. She's a vibe.
Yeah, and it's good to see, and as well, I think it's great. I mean, I'm the father of a daughter who, she likes to sing, but she's not doing much musically. But I like to see, the progression of more ladies getting involved. Certainly, we try to push this on bar stools and band talk and Rimshots with Sean. And I've had people to say, "Ah, you're just doing it." No, I'm not just doing it. I think it's important, and good is good, whether you're whatever. But it's great to see, I guess, more women getting a shot at some of the stuff where maybe they didn't in the past.
Well, I hope it continues. I don't think it's been given to them. I think they're taking it, and I hope they're going to continue to take it. My daughter is one of them. She's just starting in her musical career, and she's doing it all. And the kids that are coming up now, I mean, they know the drill. They have to do it all. They have to work all the jobs. So my daughter is she's recording her own stuff. She creates all of her own tracks. She's producing most of her own tracks. She takes it over to Mike Sheppy at Lakewind and to Jamie Folds, and they help her put the final touches on it. But she's working all the behind the scenes camera jobs because she wants to know the business, and she's going to be a force, somebody to deal with, and there's more like her coming.
Great to hear. So hard to believe we're out of time. Half-hour show. It goes pretty quickly on this historic episode of Rimshots with Sean. I'm actually
I
not
should have
minding the
worn I
glasses
should have
one.
worn my glasses. I'm gonna
Well,
have to
what?
find mine and put them on too.
I can actually see, which I'm not used to doing, so that's kind of neat. There we go. We're
There.
glasses, buddy. So one last time here, a shout out, I guess, your husband and your company, and then where our viewers can find more about what the wonderful Jenn Sheppard is up to.
Well, yeah, great. You can find us online. I'm pretty active on Facebook, and I do have a website, jensheppard.com. I'm on YouTube and Spotify and all those places. And through me, you can find links to everybody that I mentioned. And I hope that you do go search them all out and give them a fresh like on their page or a nice comment or download something that they own.
We will. Well, look, thanks for doing this. It was nice to finally meet you. I'm Cape Breton, but I lived there for 2 years of my life, and mostly Dartmouth. But hey, I'll drop it every time it suits the purpose. But have a great holiday, and hopefully we'll get to see you in the new year.
Thanks so much, Sean, for having me. Happy holidays to you.
Peace, my friend.